you're seeing global protests over racism and police brutality. You're seeing the quote unquote hashtag Black Lives Matter. You're seeing this because there's a problem in this world, and it all comes back to skin color. And I know people want to argue and scream out, all lives matter. Of course, all lives matter. Of course they do. We know they do. That isn't the argument here. The argument is not all lives matter equally, which is why you see the term Black Lives Matter, because we have centuries of inequality. We have centuries of enslavement and discrimination and just everything that goes with that. And as I sit here and talk to you guys with my 46 years on this planet, and I look back at my own life, just selfishly for a second, just looking back at my own life, I'm lucky. I'm very, very, very lucky to be where I am today. And, you know, I was born, raised in St. Petersburg, Florida, you know, the Tampa area, for those that may not know, but that's where I was born. I was born on the south side of St. Petersburg, Florida, and a black person in the mid 70s into the 80s and 90s that's where I grew up. That was my reality. And when I was on Spawn on Me, I forgot to bring this up because it hit me like a ton of bricks during the middle of the week. This is a memory I completely forgot about, so I'm just going to say it here. Late 70s, my mother moved us to a neighborhood that was predominantly white. It was, I guess, kind of the suburbs of St. Petersburg, right? And we were one of the first black families to move into that area. This was, guy, this had been like 78, 79, up in there somewhere, right? I was pretty young. And a memory that I kind of took out of my mind, something that didn't stick with me, but it happened, was that first year we lived there, and this had to have been around Christmas time. Back then, you know, dryers and all that stuff wasn't a big thing. You used to hang all your clothes on the clothesline out in the backyard, right? So I just remember my mom would always do this. And we didn't have fencing to keep people from going in our backyard at the time. So cut to the chase of this. We left and went somewhere for a while. We came back home, and my next door neighbor and the neighbor across the street, their sons, came into our home, or into our yard, ripped down all the linens that my mom was hanging up in the backyard, smeared them in dog shit, and then ripped down all our Christmas lights and smeared in dog shit on the side of our house. Niggers go home. I had to have been 4 or 5 years old when this happened, so the memory of it isn't kicking in with me, but this happened. I remember my mother obviously called the police, found out it was the neighbors. There was a court thing that happened, and the judge gave them a slap on the wrist. So basically nothing happened for doing that. And that was our welcome into that neighborhood. And again, I'm so young, I don't know what was going through my mother's mind, why we stayed there, what happened, but that was probably my first real memory of racism. And it was that young in my life, to where you just did that because of the color of my skin. You don't know us. We did nothing to you. But because of the color of my skin, you felt it was okay to try and destroy my home, to try and hurt me because of the color of my skin. That's America. And that was, like I said, the late 70s. And this shit still goes on today. It still goes on today. You know, thankfully, I live in an area where my children are shielded from that. I've lived in the Temecula area now since '03, so with the math, 17 years. And I've never experienced direct racism extreme in my face in this area, so my kids have never seen it. I educate them on what racism looks like, what it feels like to be discriminated against. They understand it, but they've never truly felt it. And I am blessed for that, which, by the way, the mayor of my town just had to resign because he sent out an email and he blamed it on Siri that he had a phrase that no good black person has ever been killed by the police. And whether he made a mistake or not, I do not know, but he clearly resigned over it. So there was something there. that he said that. So that was the mayor of where I live. So again, and talking to more people now, there's, you know, people call him the Trump of Temecula or something like that, but I had never experienced it directly. So I'm very cautious when I talk about that, because I don't have all the facts, other than he resigned over something that he admitted he said and blamed it on technology, but whatever. But this is the point. This is where we are. I look at what's going on in Seattle yesterday. You know, I saw DMG, I saw Pete Parsons, I saw a ton of our Seattle friends in the gaming industry that were peacefully out there protesting after their mayor and police department had a 30-day ban on using tear gas. And guess what? They used tear gas, and these people got tear gassed in the streets. Wasn't being violent. They were protesting. Black, white, Mexican, Asian, we're all together, united, out there protesting, and they still got tear gas. What does that say? I mean, what does that really say about the world right now, about what's going on? And again, I equate all this back to the color of my skin. George Floyd was murdered, and murdered in a casual way. He was tortured by police officers because of the color of his skin. Let's not sugarcoat this shit anymore. It was the color of his skin. He was murdered and tortured because he was a black man who was accused of passing along a counterfeit $20 bill, which I guess we found out now was not even counterfeit. The sins of his past are irrelevant to what happened to him, because no man deserved that. Nobody deserved that. Even if he shot someone dead on the street right there, the police's job is to apprehend him, put him into custody, and let the legal system and a jury of his peers convict him. And then he is punished accordingly. So people can save me with that nonsense that they try to dig up that his past wasn't perfect. Hell, my past ain't perfect. I'm sure there's some skeletons in the closet people could probably dig up on me. Nobody's perfect is the whole point. So it's frustrating to live in this world right now, which, oh, by the way, we still have a global pandemic going on. Let's be real about this. COVID is still a thing. COVID is loving this right now, and we will see the ramifications of this a few weeks down the road. And I understand that, you know, people have to be out there protesting. Like I said, I went out last week with my kids and did it for a little bit, but, you know, due to their safety, I don't want to expose them to that too much, just in case something crazy pops off. So yes, we're out protesting. Yes, we are aware that COVID-19, David Jaffe, is an issue, but it is what it is. We have to do this right now. We have to. As human beings, we have to. You know, when you got the president of the freaking United States doing a PR stunt with a Bible and tear gases innocent, peaceful protesters so he can improve his standing with his base, with the Christian base, it's freaking ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, think about that. Take politics out of it. Think of that alone. And that's the other thing that just drives me crazy right now, is this has become political. It's not. This is a human rights issue. It is about human rights. It is about treating people fairly, treating all of us equally. I don't care about skin color, because look, at the end of the day, we're all the same. We've all said this for a million times. I get it. I get it. We all say it, but then we don't do anything about it. That is the one thing about what's happening right now across the world that does give me hope. I feel like we're all tired of this shit. We're tired. All of us. Black, white, doesn't matter. We're all tired of the bullshit that's going on in the world, the cruelty that's going on in the world. And we have to change. We have to change. We have seen the people that are stepping up, that are actually trying to not let this just be a 2-week thing or a month thing where we all, yep, Black Lives Matter and everything's great. No. We have to keep this energy for way past the right now, way past 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years from now, a decade from now. We have to keep this going. We have to invoke change. And again, I am not Killer Mike, because my God, go listen to Killer Mike, everything that he's been saying the past couple of weeks, because that brother has my ultimate respect, because he breaks it down so well. But it all starts with voting. It absolutely, it starts with the protests right now to bring attention to everything that's going on, right? The next step after this is we got to go vote. That's our power in this country anyways, in the United States. Go vote. Go register. Go vote. I don't care if you're a Republican. I don't care if you're a Democrat, whatever. It's not about politics. If you see shit that's going wrong, you see the people that's currently in power aren't doing anything about it, get their ass out. Period. And you do that by voting. All of us together, united, not black people against white people or Asians or Mexicans. It ain't about that. It's about being together. We do this together. We vote. We get the right people in office to actually have the leadership to start making change, to write the policies that and laws that can make this change happen. We need police reform. We need severe punishment for racial and hate crimes. That's what needs to start happening. So not only do the police need to stop whooping our ass and stop killing us, once they actually apprehend us, we need to go through a fair legal system. We need to be judged by our peers correctly and fairly. The punishment needs to be the correct punishment. Again, I take skin color out of this. As much as I want to say that, it all comes back to that. Again, you're looking at a black man on the screen right now that's talking to you, that is hurting. I hurt. I hurt for my kids because it's not about me. It's about my kids. I don't want them to go through this bullshit anymore. I don't. They don't deserve it. They deserve to be looked at and judged by their character, not because they're a couple shades darker than someone else. It's really that simple. It is that simple. Stop this bullshit. Stop it. Stop. Again, I don't want to be too, I don't want to talk about this too much because obviously it's very painful for a lot of people. It is for me. I don't want to talk about it too much. I kind of want to move into something else that I think is important because obviously video games, that's, what brings all of us here and, why people interact with me on social media and everything. So I want to talk about something else. And I want to take that same energy and apply it into the video game world.